See Milwaukee Road west and marvel at the Milwaukee's huge GE Boxmotors and bipolar electrics that represented what could have been an American railroad power. The Milwaukee Road extended from the Great Lakes in mid-America to the Pacific coast. And the toughest portion on the Pacific Extension line had two disconnected sections under 3,000-volt electric overhead. Our mountain coverage focuses on the section from the Bitterroot Mountains to the Belt Mountains. See the rail scene in the Milwaukee's territory during the 50s through the 70s. The beautiful Olympian Hiawatha is featured behind a variety of power, and you'll see why the Milwaukee had a good schedule and the best scenery to sell to the public. Learn about the Milwaukee's history, strategies, and ultimate failure to beat the James Hill lines out west, such as the Northern Pacific, Spokane, Portland, and Seattle, and the Great Northern. See how the Milwaukee adopted the colors of the Union Pacific on their passenger trains in the 50s, and see trains before and during the transition. We cover vintage action in the Pacific Northwest from the 50s through the 70s with all the major lines, and show how the Milwaukee almost beat them in the 70s with new trackage rights and business plans to combat the new Burlington Northern Empire. We also checked some action in the Chicago area and show the Milwaukee at work with many other roads calling Chicago home. The Rock Island was a potential merger partner, and the Rock had a similar fate in the 80s. The Indiana Harbor Belt shows up too, since it was once 49% owned by the Milwaukee in better times. We cover some of the Milwaukee's trackage rights and alliances over the Monon and with the L&N to better appreciate the Milwaukee's struggle to find a workable combination in a changing rail scene in the 70s. Back in the mountains of Idaho, we look at the Milwaukee and the way of life that has vanished in the remote, rugged mountains that justified their electric locomotives operating as helpers for heavy freights long past their prime. A brief visit to a substation to start up its huge motor generator converters is an experience that you won't forget, and the power from these substations built before World War I carried on into the 70s to the end of electric operation. See the incomparable Little Joe electrics and the big GE Boxmotors in many great scenes that will take you back through the filming efforts of 5 top-notch rail fans. The Milwaukee used these huge box motors to switch the small yard at Avery. This must be some type of record for heavy switching power. We visit the large yard at Deer Lodge, Montana, with the daily ritual of the shop switcher pulling power out onto the turntable, all powered by an extension cord. This was an impressive combination of antique equipment used in an effective way by the resourcefulness of mountain railroaders. We explain some of the technical details of the various electric models with diagrams made just for this video. More action at Deer Lodge brings the smaller electrics switching the yard with World War I vintage steeple cab motors. These great little locomotives kept the main line supplied with trains we follow out on the main line with diesel and electric action. We compare the Rock Island's fate and their attempts to find a willing merger partner in a period of great change that brought extinction to the unprepared. The vintage rock scenes like those of the Milwaukee have never been seen before until now, and this video will bring you a great piece of American rail history.